10 Weirdest British Habits That Confuse the World. The British have some truly unique habits that leave the rest of the world scratching their heads. From saying sorry to inanimate objects to treating the weather like breaking news, these quirks are part of what makes the UK so wonderfully puzzling. In this video, we're diving into the 10 weirdest British habits that confuse the world. The charming, confusing, and sometimes hilarious things Brits do without thinking twice. Whether you're visiting the UK or just curious, prepare for a fun ride through Britain's most baffling behaviors. 1. Saying sorry for everything and anything. If Brits had a national motto, it might be sorry. Bumped into someone? Sorry. Someone bumped into you? Sorry. Accidentally made eye contact from across the tube? Sorry. Walked into a tree? You guessed it? Sorry. This compulsive apologizing is less about remorse and more about social harmony. It's the British way of acknowledging others and smoothing over life's tiny inconveniences. Foreigners often find it strange, especially when Brits apologize for things they didn't even do. A 2011 YouGov poll found that Brits say sorry up to 8 times a day, and many admit to apologizing even when they're not at fault. In other countries, apologies are reserved for actual wrongdoing. In the UK, it's a form of interaction, a reflex, a ritual. And yes, some Brits have even admitted to saying sorry to furniture after bumping into it. Welcome to British culture, where everything deserves a polite acknowledgement. 2. Talking about the weather. Like it's breaking news. The British weather isn't just a topic, it's a national obsession. Sunny skies? That's suspicious. Rain? Normal? Snow? Time to panic and buy bread. But the real charm lies in how often Brits talk about it. A brief exchange at the corner shop might go like this. Bit chilly today. Yeah, proper autumn now. Still, could be worse. Rained buckets last week. And then, silence. Conversation complete. Why? Because the weather is a safe zone, the ultimate icebreaker, and the one topic that everyone has an opinion on. It's rarely offensive, always available, and changes frequently enough to be eternally relevant. Foreigners might think Brits are meteorologists in disguise. In truth, they're just experts at avoiding awkwardness with a drizzle of small talk. 3. Making tea in the middle of every life event. Tea in Britain isn't just a beverage. It's therapy in a cup, a social glue, and sometimes the answer to all of life's problems. Spilled wine? Make a cup of tea. Lost your job? Tea. Won the lottery? Still tea. There's no occasion where tea doesn't fit. In fact, studies show that Brits consume around 100 million cups of tea every single day. It's the go-to gesture for comfort, conversation, and calm. For foreigners, the tea obsession can seem a bit over the top, especially when offered during a crisis. But in Britain, it's the emotional equivalent of a hug. And refusing a cuppa? That's borderline criminal. Black tea with milk is standard, but the ritual, boiling the kettle, steeping the bag, adding milk just right, is what matters. It's meditative. It's nostalgic. It's the British way. 4. Queuing like it's a sport, with unspoken rules. To the British, queuing is sacred. It's about fairness, patience, and silent mutual respect. You don't ask where the queue starts, you simply spot the end and join. If there's no queue, Brits will invent one. And heaven help you if you jump it. Brits won't usually confront queue jumpers directly. Instead, they'll engage in a far more brutal form of punishment. The glare, a potent mixture of disappointment, superiority, and quiet rage. This dedication to queuing confuses many cultures where lining up isn't a strict social rule. But in the UK, it's an unspoken contract. Even at bus stops where no physical line exists, everyone still knows who arrived first. This devotion likely dates back to World War II rationing queues and has remained deeply embedded in British behavior. As one observer put it, the British will form a queue even when they don't know what they're queuing for. 5. Two separate taps, hot and cold, never together. Nothing puzzles tourists like British bathroom sinks. In many older homes and public buildings, you'll find two taps, one for scalding hot water and one for icy cold. No mixer tap, no gentle warmth, just a daily choice between boiling your skin or freezing it. Why? Historically, UK plumbing regulations required hot water to come from separate storage tanks, which could be contaminated. So, to avoid mixing with mains-fed cold water, two taps were installed. Though modern homes increasingly use mixer taps, the traditional setup is still surprisingly common. And to visitors, it's like stepping into a time capsule of plumbing confusion. Locals get around it by quickly switching between taps, or plugging the basin and mixing the water manually. Outsiders, however, are left wondering if the UK is playing a prank. 6. Cheers means more than just a toast. Globally, cheers is what you say when clinking glasses. In Britain, it's a universal word for thank you, goodbye, agreement, or just a friendly filler. Buying a sandwich. Cheers! Let someone pass in a narrow hallway. Cheers! End of a text message. Cheers, mate! It's casual, cheerful, and widely used, but confusing for newcomers who often think they're being offered a drink when they're just being thanked. Pair it with ta, another slang term for thank you, and you've got a full-on British appreciation combo. Cheers, ta! It may sound strange at first, but once you get the hang of it, cheers becomes one of the most useful words in the British vocabulary. 7. Understatement. Calling a flood a bit damp. One of the most bewildering things about British culture is how little emotion is shown on the surface. Everything is described in the mildest way possible. Food that's disgusting? Not my favorite. Holiday cancelled last minute? Bit of a bother. House on fire? Well, that's unfortunate. It's part of the British art of understatement, where directness is softened to avoid discomfort. Even enthusiasm is dialed down. A British person saying, "That's quite good," probably means, "That's absolutely amazing." To non-Brits, this can be deeply confusing. Are they happy? Are they furious? Are they completely fine or barely hanging on? It's hard to tell, but that's just how Brits roll. Less is more. Drama is avoided. Emotions are implied, not displayed. It's verbal camouflage, and it's very, very British. 8. The pub is a community institution, not just a bar. Step into a British pub, and you're entering more than a drinking hole. You're stepping into the heart of a neighborhood. The pub is where locals catch up, celebrate, watch the footy, join pub quizzes, and occasionally cry into their pint. It's part social club, part family living room, and always stocked with crisps and conversation. In Britain, pubs can be centuries old, with timber beams, open fires, and names like the Red Lion or the Dog and Duck. They're comforting places full of characters, and pub regulars who practically live there. To a tourist, it might just seem like another bar. But in the UK, the pub plays a vital role in community life and cultural identity. Some even consider it an extension of home. It's where major life moments are toasted, or just quietly mulled over with a pint of bitter. 9. Laughing at the most inappropriate moments. The British laugh when things go wrong, not because they're heartless, but because humor is their go-to coping mechanism. Someone slips on a banana peel? Nervous chuckle. Doctor gives bad news. Weak grin. Job interview blunder? Full-on giggle. To outsiders, it can seem bizarre or even insensitive. But in Britain, Awkwardness and embarrassment are dealt with by cracking a joke or laughing away the tension. It's a way to remain emotionally distant from discomfort, or at least not drown in it. This behavior is embedded in British comedy too. Dry, self-deprecating, and often absurd. Shows like The Office, UK, and Peep Show reflect this uncomfortable humor perfectly. If you see a Brit giggling at something tragic, it's not mockery, it's emotional triage. Awkward silence is the real enemy. 10. Speaking in polite code. That's hard to decipher. One of the strangest things for outsiders is how indirect British people can be. They rarely say what they really mean. Instead, they use polite euphemisms that can confuse even the most fluent English speakers. When a Brit says, that's an interesting idea, they probably mean it's a terrible one. With all due respect, prepare to be insulted politely. It's fine. It's definitely not fine. Not to worry. You should be worried. This form of coded communication is often baffling to foreigners used to more direct language. Brits avoid confrontation and favor diplomacy, even if it means nobody knows what anyone is really thinking. Understanding this takes time, and perhaps a few years living in Britain. But once you learn the code, you start to see the genius in it. It allows people to remain civil, even when they're secretly fuming. The 10 weirdest British habits that confuse the world are more than oddities. They're part of Britain's charm. Whether it's tea during chaos or apologizing to furniture, these quirks reveal a culture full of humor and subtlety. They may seem strange, but for Brits, they're just everyday life. Cheers! Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.